Hi, this is Cindy from Part-Time Permies, and today I'll give you a little update on how things are going in parts of the garden. I'll focus on the Hugelkultur bed today, but first I want to give you a little update on the gosling and chick situations. We have, last we heard, 2 goslings, 2 chicks. And it is super hot outside. It's actually, I think, in the 90s, or supposed to be in the 90s today. It definitely feels like it. It's muggy as heck. I hate this weather. But just to show you where we're at here, this mama, I fenced off. She has her gosling back there. The gosling could get out from under her. She's got her food and water in there. I just didn't want the gosling to go wandering this whole coop and calling for mom and bringing her off the nest. However, it is so hot today that it probably wouldn't matter as much. The chicken eggs under her aren't supposed to hatch until tomorrow or Tuesday. So I'm hoping for early hatch. She hasn't gotten off her nest yet. And the gosling's very active, but she has shown the gosling the food, and I've shown the gosling water. So the gosling seems to be doing all right. The original 2 chicks and the original gosling, who I think will be probably getting a name, which means probably not going to end up as dinner, because she's very lucky. They're doing well. They're doing great. They're actually out on the run. I'll show you our setup here. I have sprinklers on because everything was drooping so bad, although it would have been better to do that first thing in the morning. I'm bringing them in. Yeah, they're going in. But they're doing well. See? That's Lucky. She's very lucky. She's doing super well. She's been accepted by mom. We're hanging out with her 2 sibling chicks. I put a little extra roofing panels up here. I'll get couple bricks to set on top of it so it doesn't blow away, because it's slightly breezy at times, which thank God for that, because otherwise it would be unbearable. But so they have a lot of shade under here, which is good. They have just one little corner that has some daylight, and as it gets later in the afternoon that might creep in a little bit further, but not too bad. So extra shade for them. I also put a panel up over here, which again I'll put a couple bricks on just so it doesn't fly away. And in here is the white girl. Now, I don't want to bug her. Yeah, because she moved back to her nest box. She was off the nest box, and there's a 3rd gosling over there, but looked like she just hatched, still weak. But I think mom moved off the nest box because it's so hot, and she doesn't want to overheat her baby, which is fine because she's sitting in direct sun. She's got shade from the roof, but this coop is in direct sun at the moment. As it gets into the afternoon, it'll move into the shade a little more. And she does have more ventilation in this coop. So I have a screen up at the top here, so she'll get more of the breeze in there. So I don't want to bug her. I'm not going to open this. Maybe later I'll check on her and give you a little glimpse at her gosling. But the gosling looks like it just hatched, literally, probably this morning. So we're not going to bug them right now. I don't want to stress them out because every time I get close, she runs back to cover the gosling up. And I don't want the gosling to overheat in this. About 90 degrees is perfect for them for their first week, but she doesn't need to sit on them if it's 90 degrees out, and I think it's 90 plus. So I'll check on number 3 later in the day. None of the chick eggs have hatched in there either, but they're also due tomorrow or Tuesday. So, and I'm thinking they'll probably be fine in this heat, even if mom gets off the nest. So I'm not going to worry about it. What hatches. I do have 2 chicks already from this group. So frankly, if this gosling and these 2 chicks are getting along the best, they're going to go into the main flock. And this one may end up as dinner. If any chicks hatch, they will go into the main flock eventually. And if any chicks hatch under the other silky, they'll go into the main flock. But that gosling over there, I think, will go into the silky coop. In fact, I'll probably move the family into the silky coop, see how Dad does with them. I've had chicks in there with him before, and he seems to, be pretty protective of the families. There's one other hen in there, but it's what I call my little mama. She's older, she's super sweet, friendly. She's tiny, so I don't think she'll try to mess with the chicks at all. In fact, she still hasn't started laying since she raised her chick yet. So I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up trying to co-raise the chicks. But we'll see how they do. And if there's any tension there at all, I'll move her back into her own coop. I'll give you a little update on the Hugelkultur bed. Now, this is a bed that I built up last fall. If you don't know what Hugelkultur is, it's basically a form of a raised bed. You actually dig down a little bit, taking the topsoil off the ground level. You put logs in. You start building up wood piles basically inside. Put some smaller stuff, put some green material in with it. We used chicken compost from the chicken runs and added that. Put another layer of like leaves and small things, and then put the topsoil back on top of the whole bed. So it's a big mound. And actually, ours is, I want to say about 3 feet tall. It's not huge of the way Hugelkulturs go, but it's a decent size. And then we mulched it with straw on top of that. And you do want to make sure you mulch it. And we did a pretty deep mulch system with this bed. And what I did last fall, the only thing I actually got in the ground in the fall, because I wanted to put some things in the ground, was some garlic. And as you can see, it has been very dry, so it's actually starting to yellow out. One of the points of the Hugelkultur bed, though, is the wood inside actually holds moisture as it breaks down. Now, this is 3 weeks without water, other than occasional sprinkler. And I will say the sprinkler doesn't get over the top of this bed very well. So it's only really hitting the one side. So it's only semi-watered here. There are places that will not water it at all. That might work better in the second season as the wood breaks down a little bit more because it's pretty fresh still. It's just put in here last fall. But I would say the garlic has been doing, in general, pretty well. And it's actually starting to form scapes. So you can harvest those, which is great to fry up. So we do have some garlic scapes, which I should probably harvest here soon. Last January, we had a warm spell. So what I did was I planted some potatoes. And I planted them all up and down the front and back of this bed. I put, I forget which side I put which height, but I put like a red potato on one side and a mix, just grocery store bag mix of fingerlings on the back side. It could be flipped, but I put them all along this middle section of the bed, and you can see the ones on top actually were the first to emerge, here and there, over there as well. So the ones on top are doing great. We've got some starting to come up down lower through all this mulch and everything. We do have some coming up on the back side of the bed as well, but I think that tells me that the potatoes like to be on top of this bed, because you have different microclimates in different parts of the bed. The top part is much more well drained. It does get more sunshine because that side of the bed is east, this side of the bed is west, so it's pretty much getting full sun on top. Recently I put my basement kale plants in here, and they're holding up. They're getting eaten a little bit, but it's getting too hot for them now. I do have some leeks just starting here. It's, again, getting a little hot for those. I did plant recently, a couple weeks ago, some pak choi that I had started, and they're little tiny plants in there. And some Asian greens down here and over here, and they're doing all right. I do think I have a pak choi plant that died off there. And Asian green plants that I think died off over in here, so that's all right. This section, about the same time I transplanted the pak choi and Asian greens, I planted a bunch of mustard greens, and I just cleared this whole thing and then put my seeds down and then lightly mulched over it. And as you can see down here, there's actually quite a few coming through. At the top, it's a little more sparse. I think they like to be towards the bottom of the Hugelkultur bed, which is more moist down at the bottom. I just put a sage plant. That came from a basement pot that hasn't been watered in about a month. Still alive though, so I put it at the top because sage likes to be a little drier. Oregano I put at the top as well, same reason. These are chives that I picked up at the nursery, so I just put those in. I have a wintergreen, but it's 90-some degrees out here, so it's wilting away. It doesn't like the heat. Purchased some lavender, so I put one there, put one over there. Again, they're supposed to actually keep some of the potato bugs away and stuff, so it doesn't hurt to have them in here. But I put those towards the top as well. They like well-drained soil. Eggplants love well-drained soil. Well-drained sandy soil at that, which is actually what we have in most of the garden. So they're just went in here. They're doing well. We have some thyme. So this is your standard thyme. This is lemon variegated thyme, which is awesome as well. And again, they like well-drained soil, so I put them towards the top. I did put some on the back side of this as well. So on the east side of the bed. We have some catnip that I put down here. That's going to be a ground cover. So we don't get to the back side of this bed very often because it's right on the edge of the garden. I have this big net here for keeping the deer out. So not like we'll harvest that one too much, I don't think. We might. I put some tarragon back here. You can see a little potato plant starting there. I think we got mulched a little thicker back here than in the front. So things are there's another potato plant. So those potato plants are starting to come through a little bit later than where it was a little thinner, but that's all right. Got a little moth on my rosemary plant. And we have a spearmint plant down here, which again will be a ground cover, so it'll spread through the lower part of this, I'm hoping. You get this bed wet and it will hold that moisture fairly. Oops! That was the sprinkler we just got wet. Good thing I have a case on this thing. That wasn't too bad. I am saving this end in case I get any sweet potato starts going. I'll put them in there, but it's getting a little late for the sweet potatoes to go in because they're slow growing. I might just throw some potatoes in there and just see what it does. Otherwise, I'll find something else to put on there. But the rest of the Hugelkultur bed is planted and done. So we'll just see how it does. And yeah, I might add a few things here or there. Maybe I'll sprinkle some lettuce seeds and stuff along there. I have a feeling those will do better on the lower half of the bed. So we do have some spaces open down there. But the mulch is so thick, if you put it under the mulch, which I did in the winter, I put some carrot seeds and lettuce seeds down and then I mulched over it. Don't do that because the mulch here, the whole idea is so thick, it helps it retain the moisture that way as well. But carrot seeds and lettuce seeds need to be near the surface. So I think if you sprinkle it on top now, it actually might grow straight out of the mulch. So I might do that a little bit here too. So a couple of things we could add to it, but it's for the most part got a lot of its plants in place and growing. So far so good. And hope you liked the show on the Hugelkultur. If you want more information, my very first video kind of summarized with pictures how I made the Hugelkultur bed, so you can go back to that. But otherwise, if you like this sort of thing, like, subscribe, comment below, and I'll see you tomorrow.